it's better if I was poor. So.
Michael Jr. is funny. Michael Jr. is funny.
Here is an exclusive of the Music Zone Complicated-ish from Da Truth and Flame.
Yeah. Hey, man, I ain't gonna front, bro. I hate this subject, dog.
Right.
But I want it to be on record.
I know.
I want it to be on record.
I'm so tired. Bro. And maybe it's because we've been in it so long.
That's what it is.
I'm so tired of talking about Christian rap, bro. Like, I hope people don't take that wrong. But now I got to watch myself, though.
Nah, I get it.
Because I almost get an attitude when people approach me with questions
What?
about Christian hip
The
hop,
music
bro.
about Jesus through rap.
Nah, bro. Like,
Man, shut up.
bro, I get it. I've lost, and I don't know. I'm honestly conflicted. Like, I don't know if that's the wrong space for me to be in.
Right.
But I almost feel like there are certain conversations that once you get to a certain space, you just stop having. Like I just can't imagine Jay. Not that I'm a Jay, but
I get it.
Right.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine Jay still talking about stuff from 10 years ago.
Right. I get it.
You know what I'm saying? To me, he says, buy my old albums. Like, if that's what you want to hear from me.
Yeah.
Like, because there's an evolution. Anyway, but.
Was that line spoke for all veterans.
For all veterans.
Yeah.
That's what for all veterans.
Yeah, that was a boss line.
Because we get that, don't we?
Right, yeah.
You know what I'm saying? People come up to us all the time like, yo, either wanting us to go to do an album like something we did early. You know what I'm saying?
Trying to recreate that
old
energy.
Trying to get you to recreate that.
Yeah.
Or
them chasing the first high, which is unfair.
Right. Yeah, wow.
But anyway.
That's a great analogy.
Yeah.
Or feeling like, or just like they're not trying to get you to go back. They just, they only want to listen to who you were.
Right.
So you're on album 8.
Right.
They on album 3.
Right.
And refuse.
Refuse.
Like, I will not listen from
Man,
album
that one
4.
song.
Right.
You're like, bro, I put out 6 more albums since then.
Right.
No, I get that. But it's so my mentality only got adjusted when Whitney Houston died.
Okay.
And
Help me.
It's a weird reference,
Help
right?
me.
But only, I still like struggle with the attitude part, but at least cognitively, I think I was, so when she passed and all the highlight reels were of her special songs. So in one sense, your life, your musical legacy gets not reduced down, but summed up in those special moments, those certain songs.
True.
So I think in one sense, it's an honor, right, that people are nostalgic and reflecting on those special moments in their lives, those special songs from us. But the way it feels,
you just feel like you're not growing with us, bro.
Right.
We're growing.
True.
Like, we've grown so much.
Yeah, that's facts.
No,
that's a healthy challenge for the fan, though.
Right.
Which is
right.
Also consider growing with us.
Right.
Like, let's do the nostalgic memory lane.
Yeah.
Like, man. But let's also, think about my recent contribution.
Right.
That's just fair.
Because we're forward thinking. I wonder if the reason why they stop listening at a certain point is because they assume that what you're doing is, they already know what, like they feel like they already know.
Yeah.
Especially when you're 9, 10, 11 albums in.
Yeah.
Like, we know, like, that's my story truth.
Right.
That's TBN truth. So it's like,
they
just assume, but you're like, bro, we forward thinking. Like, we're trying to push things ahead.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? Like, you know that if you stayed connected. Like,
true.
I don't know, bro.
No, I totally agree.
Yeah.
I totally agree. And
Nas just had a beef about. Nas was
He snapped.
He snapped. He like
on Twitter, like, y'all
bro, stop.
reference.
Right.
It is written
One
more
more
time.
time, yo.
They like, this the 20th year anniversary. He like, stop. Like,
right.
I just put out a record with Ye last year. You know what I'm saying? He snapped. But we understood why he snapped.
Like, we got that.
Exactly. But you know,
But what that tells us is that we're not alone in it, though.
exactly.
Yeah,
It's an
like-
artist sentiment, a
Yeah,
rapper sentiment.
right.
You know what I mean? But all in all, you know, I can appreciate the contribution Christian rap has done, and it's an honor to think that our music has
Yeah.
given that same feeling
Yeah.
to a cluster of people that
True.
it gave Nas's fans, Jay's fans,
Yeah.
that they are so hung up on
Yeah.
a piece of art we did in obscurity,
Right.
put it out into the world, and now it's
Right.
that special to them that they can't forget it.
Yeah.
So in that way, I'm flattered, I'm thankful, and I feel like you know, Christian rap has contributed a lot, and I think salute to so many of the dudes that went before us that laid the blueprint. They helped us understand
Yeah.
how to navigate it and maneuver in this. That was a dope thing to see develop
Yeah.
and to flourish.
Yeah.
Now, having said that,
Yeah.
I do now hindsight, and you know, I do like that you and I are keen on keeping things in context. So what we're about to say will explain the context.
Yeah.
But is there a sense in which we were underserved in the way Christian rap was handed down to us? The structure of it, the ideology, the philosophy, as we used to say, and kind of setting the rules and the playbook for what it should look like. Were we underserved in a sense?
I tend to say no, because I understand you can't get it all from any one
It's good.
person or group of people. So what I feel like, now again, that doesn't mean that we weren't that statement in and of itself still doesn't mean we weren't underserved. I just don't tend to interpret it that way, because I see it as people who gave us all that they knew to.
So when I say underserved, I
Yeah.
probably need to explain it. What do you hear me saying?
Okay. So when you say underserved, I think you're asking if what we were given was less than what we should have been. Like, should what we have been given should have been broader?
Yeah.
Like, was it pigeonholed? Is that what you're saying?
Yeah,
Was
exactly.
it pigeonholed to something that really could have potentially been more of a disservice than anything else? So is that what you mean?
Yeah, nah.
Right.
Yeah, you're spot on.
So to that, I'm saying I don't necessarily think that, because I think that we were just, it's like when you say about your parents, like, I think they did the best they could. Like,
right. Yeah.
I think what here it is. There wasn't much to pull from at the time that we started.
Facts.
Like, we primarily were pulling from a central well, like one central place, which naturally that one place is going to have its own everything: culture, philosophies, ideas, etc. Because there weren't many other options when we started. Like, oh, they do that over here, they do it like this, or they say you should do it like this over here. Well, there was a little bit of that, but the thing that was dominant wasn't that. It was the thing that was dominant was the central well that we drew from.
Yeah.
And because of that, I'm thinking there's only but so much you can get from one central place anyway, anywhere, at any time.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I would say I don't think we were underserved. I just think that we got what we could, and then we got what they could give us, and then everything, the rest of our journey, it was our responsibility to kind of glean from other places to add more pieces to what we had.
Yeah. No, I agree 100%, especially in terms of like during a time period where mainstream hip hop had an agenda that seemed to be against Christ.
Right.
You know what I mean? So Islam really had the dominant religious sway on rappers. And that was the rhetoric coming out of a lot of rap music. And the guys that really took rap by the throat in our space had that in mind.
Right.
And they knew it's time to inform, train up other dudes to articulate their faith, as well as the dudes on the corner with the bean pies.
Right.
Ready to bust heads with their doctrine. You know
That's
what I mean?
how you could be competitive then.
Exactly.
Right, yeah.
And so I think I agree with you 100% in that it was necessary, it was helpful. And I also contend, bro, like when we talk about church history and these major movements, like we always give credence to, you know, the Great Awakening and all these American revivalistic movements.
Wow.
Bro, I contend that cross movement need to be named and numbered among those groups of guys and those groups of movements, bro.
Yeah, I agree.
Like just in terms of the contribution that they brought to the world, to Christianity, to the urban community, to the theological institutions, local churches.
Yeah.
Bro, the reach was widespread.
Yeah.
And honestly, and anybody that's doing anything now, for the most part, on any influential level, is somehow connected
bro.
to those guys. Some way branched off, touched by, influenced through the big homies.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So I agree 100% in terms of we were given the best of the best
Yeah.
at the time
At the time.
period.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
The only thing I think as things evolved and developed where people started to feel underserved was in the area of, I guess, the broad spectrum of permission from God's view. So I think people start to feel like, man, why are you making me feel like if I am a Christian who loves rap music and wants to rap, that I have to do it this way? And there wasn't a lot of strong support in conversation that empowered them. There was always the like the backhand afterthought. Yeah, you can do that, but the emphasis wasn't laid on or
was on the
placed
other
on
side.
like, no, I'm empowering you. And I think that's where the deficit came in eventually, where people start to look back and kind of feel away. You know what I'm saying? So I think that's where the deficit was in people's minds, and the revolt was strong. Like people really acted out in anger, almost like you brought up parents. You know, I heard somebody say, everybody goes through the "I'm mad at my parents" phase, where you get of age and you start reflecting on what they didn't do for you, what they didn't offer you, and there's this sense of anger and rebellion you experience, and you start recalling almost everything that they did or didn't do.
Yeah.
And I think we hit that pocket in this market where we just spent a large portion of time just mad. You know what I'm saying? Like mad at our parents, our forefathers for not doing this, and they said this, and they didn't say that.
Right.
Which may just be a necessary part of grieving or growth. You know what I'm saying? Growing pains. But I like that it pushed us forward to the wider discussion of now how do we empower the young dudes? What's the category for cats that are
Gen Zers?
Gen Zers?
Yeah.
So I'm like the last tier of millennials. So I'm technically a millennial. And then the dudes underneath us, they don't care nothing about this conversation.
Not at all.
Like they probably
They
press
don't even
pause.
know it exists.
Exactly.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Like
This
they
is
X this
news.
mug out
Yeah,
already. You
right.
feel me? But how do we talk to those guys and empower them in such a way that says, no, Christian rap did not fail you.
Wow.
It laid out the red carpet in one sense.
Yeah.
But there's more ground to lay.
Well, I think what happened was like I feel like the lash, like I feel like the kickback was the movement towards like taking taking all the narrowness out of Christian hip hop. Like I feel like that was the kickback. Like which unfortunately that could be Christ, because he is like he's polarizing just in his essence,
Right.
in his nature.
Yeah.
Right.